What is going on, guys and gals? Brooklyn-bound the Raid Scientist here, and today we're going to cover the Vault of Glass Raid Triumph Eyes on Atheon. This Triumph was introduced in the new reprised version of Vault of Glass in Destiny 2, and it's done on the final boss, Atheon times Conflux. Note that I'm going to explain this Triumph quickly, assuming that you already know how to perform all the main mechanics of this encounter already. If you do need a detailed description or walkthrough of this encounter, check out my full guide linked here and click on the timestamp in the description for Atheon. And as always, be sure to like this video, post a comment to help with the algorithm, and even consider subscribing to the channel to support us and stay up to date with all of your Destiny 2 Raid Triumph needs. Alright, so the Eyes on Atheon Triumph reads, defeat Atheon without destroying any supplicants. Man, I will tell you, this is easily the hardest and most frustrating of the Raid Triumphs to complete. Recall that once Atheon opens up his time stream and sends 3 players into the portals, he will start spawning the exploding supplicant harpies in waves until the DPS phase is over. So, you cannot kill any of these supplicants through the entire fight. So how on earth are you going to pull this off? Well, here's some tips and strategies. First, destroying supplicants means shooting them with weapons or killing them with abilities. However, you can trigger the supplicants to self-detonate by getting close enough to them and then jumping over them. And if they self-explode, this does not count as destroying them. So, during oracles, to thin them out, you will just have one player jump over them and trigger them to explode, or a couple players. While simple in theory, it's really not as easy as it sounds though, because there are tons of them for one, and two, you have to be careful when your teammates are nearby that the explosion doesn't accidentally kill them. It's best to just have a few designated people on each side to do this, so you aren't bumping into each other and getting each other killed. It can be tricky because you have to get close enough for them to trigger the self-detonate, but far enough away that you don't die to it. Remember, you can shoot and kill regular harpies, but make sure you do not have explosive payload or firefly or dragonfly weapons on, because killing the regular harpies could explode the supplicants as well. Obviously, things like grenades and damage over time weapons are a no-no also. Ultimately, you and your team are going to spend a majority of this encounter running and jumping around and not shooting the supplicants at all. Don't be surprised if this gets a little messy. The Triumph is designed to basically create chaos for the entire encounter. Secondly, a big tip is to remember that you literally only need to stand and hold the portal open for about the 10 seconds or so that it takes to activate. Once the portal is open, you can actually leave and go jump to higher ground, as neither the supplicants or the harpies can reclaim the plate. A lot of people forget this and stand and hold the plate for the entire oracles round and end up dying to supplicants. So once it's claimed, use the ledges in the back of the arena, the middle platform, or other high areas to avoid supplicants. Thirdly, you definitely probably want to DPS from the middle island. Now, if this is where you normally DPS, great. But if you typically DPS from the stairs or somewhere closer to Atheon, I recommend against this because dropping a Well of Radiance, slamming with a relic, using damage over time weapons, etc. will likely end up killing a supplicant because they continuously spawn during damage as well. You basically want to stay away from them altogether during damage phase, and if you're on the middle island, they will not kill you or push you. You can drop your bubble, your Well of Radiance, and do whatever you need for damage and not worry about them exploding on you. Now, in regards to DPS, it's very important to remember supplicants continue to spawn, like I said. So you really need to make sure you are using precision weapons and precision supers to damage him. Things like big AoE supers, weapons like Wither Horde or Anarchy, especially if you miss your shot, will likely kill some of the supplicants that are underneath him that are spawning up the stairs. For subclasses, you might want to sit down and put some thought into this first. I think the best meta here is like 1 Well of Radiance Warlock, and then maybe 4 or 5 Chaos Reach or Golden Gun, or some mixture of that. Now, obviously you can throw a Titan in there for a bubble and mix and match, but as I said earlier, this is a messy fight, and without being able to grenade spam Atheon, DPS him up close, and use Anarchy, your DPS might lack a little, so having DPS supers that don't AoE will probably help. You definitely don't want to try and survive 4 phases of this fight managing the Suicide Harpies. So do take some time to strategize your super selections and how to best stack DPS while keeping all the artifacts of damage off the ground from below his feet. Things like Thunder Crash, Nova Bomb, Blade Barrage, Tether, and pretty much any super that does not damage a very small specific target area is a bad idea. For weapons, using sniper rifles for damage between supers, especially if they have Vorpal Weapon, is great. Xenophage is not too bad either, but remember it does have some AoE on impact, so make sure you are hitting Atheon up high. In addition, it's not a bad idea to have one person on Divinity as well for the debuff and the increased hitbox. Finally, after DPS, get to a safe area and then carefully thin out the regular Harpies with primaries and non-AoE weapons. Then, have a few people remaining get the supplicants to self-explode. You have some time after DPS to get the supplicants to go away, so make sure you focus on getting them to explode cleared out, so when the teleport happens, you have a clean slate. Keep at this one, and don't be surprised if it takes you multiple tries to get a good DPS strategy and just plain not run out of revive tokens. With enough attempts and practice, you'll be claiming this title in no time. Best of luck in getting this done, Guardians. I feel your pain on this one. Thanks for watching, and until next time.